Welcome to Compas on the Beat. We have entered week 13 in the NFL. And with Thanksgiving in the rear view mirror, you know what that means. Big boy football, real football, playoff picture, who's going to make it, who's not. But the best thing about week 13, you already know. Eagles versus 49ers. Rematch from the NFC title game where Brock Purdy kind of lost the arm, but he got it back and he's playing this season. He's playing lights out. Jalen Hurts, went to the Super Bowl, couldn't get over the hump, but he's playing well. Purdy versus Jalen Hurts. I am so hyped for that one. But a quick intro. I'm Gilberto Manzano, NFL staff writer for Sports Illustrated, co-host, co-founder of Compas on the Beat. You can call me Gilbert or Gil. And if you're new to the channel, hopefully you stick around. You like the content here because it's a looking ahead show. We're not looking back to Thanksgiving or whatever happened the first 2 weeks, 12 weeks in the NFL. It's about looking ahead. But we want to give you guys fantasy football advice. We want to give you game picks. We want to give you best bets. So if you're on the channel right now and you're here watching us live, drop a comment, whatever you want. Best bets, game picks, fantasy football. We welcome it all. But I'm not alone. You probably just see my face for the next hour. But that voice, that great sound that you hear, Victor Javier Corona, Victor producer, he does so much for Comments on the Beat. Vic, where's the voice at? And how you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be here once again. Good to be back on the home studio here. And, we got a lot of things to get into in this week. We got, like you said, you brought up 49ers, Eagles. We got Seahawks and Cowboys, Broncos, Texans. We got our future water cooler storylines. And, of course, our betting locks of the week, which, I think you kind of got a little ahead of me there with a couple of picks there. So we'll go over that. And then, of course, we finish off with quick dump offs. But Gilbert, week 13, I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to break down these games. I don't know about you, but you have an engagement question. Go ahead and let the people know what you got
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah, usually I don't like to put the spotlight on. Well, I guess we do because it's game of the week. But for the engagement question, I don't like to put the spotlight on one game, kind of a bigger picture question. But I can't deny it this week. So for the engagement question of the week, give me your winner. Eagles versus 49ers. Pick a side here. And I got to say, Victor, I think I'm more excited about Eagles versus 49ers than I was Chiefs versus the Eagles a couple weeks ago, or I guess last week, right? I forget. Maybe 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Super Bowl rematch. This one just feels like it's bad blood there. Unfinished business. The 49ers chirping Debo Samuel specifically. Hey, we've had a quarterback and Brock Purdy never injured his throwing arm. Who knows what could have occurred? So go enjoy the NFC title, but it don't count. And then over there on the Eagles, they're tired of hearing the yapping, the crying, the what if, what could have, what should have been. We were just on House of Horns, Victor, and people kept saying, look at that game or look at that game. Like, who cares? No more looking back. Again, we're here on the Looking Ahead show. So settle it on the field in Philadelphia. So give me your winner, Eagles versus 49ers. And maybe the line change, you can let me know later, Vic. But surprisingly, the 49ers are favorites, -2.5 in Philadelphia. And what makes it so intriguing for this game, the 49ers are at their peak of their powers, no injuries. No complaint. And if something happens to Brock Purdy in the first quarter again, then that'd be terrible. But they're all healthy and they're going into Philly for a big juggernaut matchup. One thing I don't like, Victor, is when there's like a two great teams going at it, heavyweight matchup. They use like a boxing pun. No. Keep it separate. I'm a boxing guy, so I like to go with juggernauts. There you go. But yeah, give me your pick: Eagles versus 49ers. And again, a reminder: you're watching the live, you're watching the replay. First of all, appreciate the support. Hopefully you like the channel. But we're here to answer your questions. It's an engagement show here. So talk football. Maybe you want to talk about a best bet, fantasy football. And I'm blanking on the guy's name or the person's name last week. We were chatting about money lines, spread, covering it. And I think he even went back on the comments saying, hey, you guys helped me out with this one and that one. I got this one on my own. So you want to be back and forth with helping out with the game picks per week.
Yeah, and one of them was that Jaguars money line. He got it right. So hope he was trying to help us out. So that kind of leads us into something that we wanted to kind of promote here, Gilbert. Go ahead and let people know
Yeah.
about what we got going on that's new.
Yeah, shout out to that person because they gave us the idea. Like, they were asking, "Hey, do you have like a donation button or link?" And I got to look into it. Like, is there a donation option? And what I came across was PayPal. So PayPal could help out with donations there, and we do have a reason for that. Like, I know it's the holidays, and it's tough to ask for people to help out here, but we're trying to get to Super Bowl Radio Row, Compas on the beat. We've been fortunate to make it the last 2 years. We're trying to go for 30 in a row in Las Vegas. It gets a little costly with the housing, the equipment, and traveling, especially the equipment. We want to have the best equipment to have the best interviews. And we've been so lucky the last few years to have some great interviews at Super Bowl Radio Row. So we want to go back again. But yeah, check out that link in the description where it says donations. Click it, PayPal. You could help out. That'll be awesome. You can also find the link in the homepage of the YouTube channel. You'll see it right there, PayPal link. Or we just updated our live kind of features. You could do like a super chat or a super like or a super sticker. I'm not too familiar with it, but if you're familiar with it and you want to help us out with doing something super, go ahead and do that for the live. But again, we want to just answer your questions, pay it back. We appreciate the support. No pressure, but if you want to help out the Compas, get to Super Bowl Radio Row. Those are just a few options to help us get there.
Yeah, that'll be great. We are, we'll take any help that we can get, but like you said, Gilbert, we're not asking people to give, a donation only if they can. Hey, we had somebody on last week who we helped out with a couple of bets and they wanted to donate. So, hey, this is a great opportunity if you want to help us out. It's only if you guys are willing to help out. We try to give as much content as we can, and so we really appreciate all the subscribers and everybody who checks in. Like, what we really want, Gilbert, is for people to give us their feedback, to engage with us, because that's what makes this show possible. Last week we had a couple of people join us and give their feedback, so that's what this is all about.
Yeah, we don't want to just take. We want to have like a fair trade off. Also give back. So whatever we can do, maybe like if you're a fan of Compass on the Beat and you like the banter with Dan and Diego and Fernando Ramirez, maybe you're fans of. Maybe you're watching from What's Up Boats. We're also on the YouTube channel What's Up Boats, and you love what the Ramirez brothers are doing. You want to help support them. This is a way to help them out too. If you're watching from House of Horns and you like the work that Victor and myself do, this is a way to help us out too. But we want to give you the content. We want to give you the great information. Victor does a great job of keeping tabs on the Rams. Fernando and Dan do a great job of keeping tabs on the Chargers. So if you like the content, the analysis, the numbers, the breakdowns, this is a way to kind of help us out. But again, we want to help both sides. So people discourage fantasy football talk, saying, "I don't want to hear about your fantasy football team." We want to hear. We want to help you out with your lineup. We know how important that is for people. Me slowly working my way up the standings, Victor. I was really behind for a funky stretch there, but I'm making a last postseason push, like the Colts, like the Rams, like the Packers, like the Texans, like the Broncos. So fantasy football is encouraged, and again, it's a fun time here in the NFL to talk all these games here. And one more kind of note, you might, if you've been watching the last few weeks, we usually do it on a Thursday. We haven't really recently because Victor got married in Oklahoma, so we had to do that. And then last week was Thanksgiving, and we felt like maybe Wednesday could be a better option because people want to get their bets in, and by the time Thursday rolls around, people want to are kind of done with it. So maybe being a little early is better. But let me know in the comments or here in the live. No, I prefer Wednesday. I mean Thursday after Thursday night football. That's better. Or hey, maybe I do like Wednesday. So we're still trying to feel it out. But yeah, that's more of the housekeeping nuggets we want to share here.
Yeah, that's people. We want to get your feedback once again. Let us know what works better for you. Is it Wednesday night or Thursday night after Thursday night football? And I mean, we have a hell of a matchup between the Cowboys and the Seahawks, and so we'll get into that as well. But Gilbert, we're here to talk football, and there's a big game that everybody is talking about, and that's the headline game of the week. It's for everybody as well as us. So let's talk 49ers and Eagles. Get us started.
Yeah, I want to do a quick update on the spread here. I have it somewhere here. Yeah, minus 2.5 49ers. Something feels fishy. Something feels off. And it's like people are probably thinking in Philly, maybe it might be free money taking the Eagles money line. But we'll break it down here in a bit because it seems a little off. And I think we're going to be split here because I've talked to you for a bit. Victor, on this matchup. But again, I'm going to reiterate how exciting this game is because the 49ers are healthy. Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Brock Purdy back to being in the MVP conversation. There was a little funk there with the 3-game losing streak. Also on defense, like people were blaming Brock Purdy, but it was the defense. They couldn't get pressure. They have a weak secondary, and the running game wasn't as good as it was actually last week. I felt like they finally got it figured out. When CMC ran all over the Seahawks, I'm like, that's the 49ers rushing attack that we all remember. So they got everything figured out just in time for this showdown. And I think that's why they are the favorites, because the Eagles, I think I saw a stat that they've been outgained in the last 4 games, but they've won every game. It's kind of like the Steelers a bit, but they're like somebody called them the rich man's I guess Steelers. And that's a little concerning that they're kind of getting by, but they beat the Bills, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Cowboys. These are big time games. The 49ers, were supposed to get tested by the Jaguars. They didn't really turn out that way. So maybe being tested and being at home is better, or do you want to be the team that's just clicking on all cylinders on the defense and the offense? And that's what makes this matchup so intriguing. Maybe I don't even care about the spread. It should be a pick 'em regardless. The best of the best. And I bet if you check all the power rankings, Victor, this is 1 and 2 right here.
Yeah, and to get in the regular season, I think for me, like the big storyline in this game is the fact that, I do want to see what this team looks like, the 49ers healthy. Brock Purdy didn't play in the playoffs, and I don't think it would have made a difference, to be honest. But now, we're getting this matchup in the regular season. There's no excuses. Everybody should be healthy. My only concern for the Eagles is I still think that Jalen Hurts is banged up. I think he's got a bum knee. And so I just want to know how, both teams are going to react. Do they put in their full effort, or because the Eagles are 2 games ahead, do they not, they just say, "You know what? We don't really care." I just want to know how these teams are going to, how they're going to go about this game, because, you know, s- as we said, like one of the things I really love about this matchup is the fact that it's turning into like a little rivalry that we kind of didn't see coming. I mean, with the whole chirping back and forth, the Eagles are saying, "Well, we still would have beat you," and the 49ers are like, "Well, if Brock Purdy would have been healthy, it would have been a different story." And so I kind of want to see how this builds, because we're all expecting this matchup again later in January, Gilbert.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, do you want to show too much? Yes, no, but I think they will because they, like you mentioned, it's a rivalry. These teams don't like each other. A lot of chirping back and forth. What could have been, what should have been, unfinished business. So I think no one's going to hold back. Yeah, they probably know in the back of their mind. Yeah, you could probably face this team again. There goes Peanut, who's very excited for the football game there. But yeah, I think they're going to give their all here, and it's week 13. We're past Thanksgiving. None of that. Let's kind of hide some things here. Nobody cares about that anymore, especially the Eagles. They've been playing the best of the best. What the hell are they hiding? Nothing. So, and the 49ers had a 3-game losing streak. They had a lot to prove, so they're showing their good stuff here. So, uh, going back to your point though, Victor, the pressure on Jalen Hurts is it's key. It's on my radar. He doesn't have, like, he's not healthy, like you mentioned. He's dealing with a bad knee, and Jalen Hurts was outstanding last week against the Bills, but the Bills don't get a lot of pressure. And then the week before, the Chiefs with Chris Jones got a lot of pressure on that offensive line. It does help when you have a awesome offensive line like that. But I don't want to discredit the Chiefs. They have a great defense, but the 49ers defensive front should be better. They weren't living up to their potential in the first, 8 weeks of the season. But now they're doing it again, and they could create push in the interior, on the outside, even with the linebackers. But the thing that I worry about for the 49ers, if they don't get home on this great offensive line, that's a weak secondary. Jalen Hurts could definitely pick them apart. And I know AJ Brown has been quiet, but he gets time. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. It sucks that there's no Dallas Goddard in this game, but they can make it work, bombs or ways. But it's going to be a great matchup right there. And the same thing on the other side too. Like, I know the Eagles secondary has not been great either, but they have a good front too. Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham going up against Brock Purdy. Like, Brock Purdy is great and all, and he's made some good throws, but what's it going to be when he has a lot of pressure in his face? And the thing I love about the Eagles so much that when it comes to the fourth quarter and crunch time, you need somebody to get a stop or a sack or pressure, the Eagles tend to deliver. So both these quarterbacks are going to be super tested here.
Yeah, one of the things going on I'll start with the Eagles. One of the things that I've been kind of critical about them, and I mentioned this a couple of times, is has been their offense and defensive coordinators, just because it's their first year either calling plays or calling the defense. But one of the things I've been really impressed, especially the last three games, against the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Cowboys, has been their adjustments, Gilbert, in the second half. They get outplayed in the first half. We saw that against the Bills. The Bills, came out and punched them in the mouth. As you said, you don't like the boxing references when it comes to the NFL, but I felt like they've been getting pushed in the first half, and then the Eagles counter, and that's what makes a championship team great, is the fact that you're able to counter each time you take the best shot from an opponent. And these haven't been like nobody teams. They've done it against the Cowboys, they've done it against the Chiefs, and they did it against the Bills. And so I want to see what happens in this game. How do both teams adjust? What does Mike Shanahan do? What does Nick Sirianni do? We have some comments, by the way. So, oh, there we go. We got a tier back.
Hey,
Hey, thank you, a tier. um,
my baby. Okay,
yeah,
dear.
yeah.
Fernando's the papa.
He's a papa, I'm the baby over here. But yeah, like, just going back to what I was saying, and then for the 49ers, Gilbert, I know their DC has been heavily criticized by with some of the schemes that he's used. How does, now that they have Chase Young and they made the adjustment, Gilbert, how do they attack this Eagles offense, as you talked about? Do they go with, does he stay back and not pressure, or does he actually, blitz here and there? That's going to be the thing. And then one last thing, Gilbert, before I let you go ahead and rebuttal here. One of the things that I thought was interesting, just going back, and some of the mistakes that the Bills made, I want to see how, especially with those design runs to Jalen Hurts, how do the 49ers defend that?
Yeah, and real quick to answer Athir. Yeah, Athir, at the top of the show, we mentioned that we're trying to experiment with between Thursday or Wednesday, and we do like Thursday, but it kind of feels like maybe it's a little too late. We're waiting for Thursday night football, and people want to make their bets earlier in their week or get kind of hear the feedback or their fantasy football advice. But we're unsure yet. We're I know we're inconsistent here, man, but we're trying to figure it out. Let me know what you prefer. Like, give me your feedback, Wednesday or Thursday. And Victor, to answer your question, or one more, Victor, I am sad, done with Chargers fans. They talking nonsense. I wouldn't. I would like to share something, but shy to say it. It's something that's, I guess, not reckless. Maybe you could say it, but yeah, he's trying to vent to you, Victor. And back to your point, though, on it was a pressure, right, on the 49ers, bringing it to Jalen Hurts. And the tricky thing is, like, last week when the Bills jumped out to a lead, I think they had 2 10-point leads, one in the first half, one in the second, I mean, third or fourth quarter, one of those. Like, if the 49ers jump to a big lead, it could be a big problem for the Eagles because they have pressure. They once you have a lead, you could go at them because they're going to try to pass the ball. It becomes predictable, obvious passing down situation, and they have the pressure. They have Nick Bosa. They have Eric Armstead. They have Javon Hargrave. They have Chase Young. The Bills don't have that type of front. So that's why when Jalen Hurts is going down the field in overtime with a cupcake defense, like, it was easy. But the 49ers won't. That won't be the thing. That won't be the case. Yeah, their secondary is thin. They don't have Ufanga. They have a couple players, but that's going to be a problem there. So, and then the Steve Wilkes got burned. No pun there, when he sent the house to Kirk Cousins earlier this season, and Jordan Addison got it. So, who knows? I haven't kept track on, like, has he been shy with the blitz here? I should check into that. But they could rush forward, and they're that's the beauty about the 49ers. They're back. When they got Chase Young, that sparked it. Okay. And you need to rush forward because your secondary is thin. Like, if you get caught trying to get a little pressure, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith's gonna be down there. So I think, to answer your question, I think it's going to be a little reserved, but I think the script, the tempo, the lead, who's up, who's not, it's going to dictate the way he's going to call this game here. But off of that point, like I kind of want to see like the 49ers fall behind here. Like they go to Philly and they play a muddy game. It's gonna maybe it rains again. It's like the 49 like the thing I don't like about the 49ers, it has to be kind of perfect for them. Like I'm not saying they're the Dolphins, but they're the upgrade of the Dolphins. Where like you got to be ahead. They're a finesse team. They don't have the bombs away mentality like they do with the Dolphins. And Tua, if they don't have that down the field stretch it with Tyreek Hill, it doesn't work. The 49ers are more diverse. They can run the football and they're physical defensively. So I'm not saying they're soft, but we all know the stat with Kyle Shanahan. When he goes into the fourth quarter behind, they don't win the game. And I feel like maybe the 49ers need that to like go into the playoffs. And yeah, we haven't been getting over the hump. We keep falling short, but maybe we're tested. Come from behind in Philadelphia. They feel better going to the play. If I see them out muscle the Eagles, I might even pick them to win the whole damn thing here. So that's the one knock I have with the 49ers. It has to be perfect for them, and they need to have everybody healthy. And I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It'll be interesting. We Tier says he prefers
Okay,
Thursday,
one vote.
so there you go. And I think part of the thing with the 49ers, as you said, I think if they're down by more than 8 points, I think the stat is like the Mike Shanahan. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's like 0-35 or something like that. So you know, it'll be interesting to see how they do it, because as we've seen lately with the Eagles, they can beat you anyway. They can be behind. They can, if they're ahead of you, they're just pound the ball, on the ground. They'll keep the ball and they'll keep it away from you. They'll do the tush push, the Philly shove, and that's part of the problem, is that this team can beat you in so many ways, and that's why I'm interested to see what the in-game adjustments is going to be between these two teams. And I think the one that's able to adjust better is going to be the one that wins the game. I know it sounds cliche to say that, but when you look at both these teams and how close they are, in terms of talent and scheme, you have to take that into consideration. And then, yeah,
Yeah, and the other thing too is a credit Fernando here. Like I don't know if there's such a thing for a trap game for the Eagles because they just have like as a cliche the DNA to win these games. Like you mentioned, they find different ways. I know last we were thinking maybe it could be a trap game with the Bills, and when they won in overtime, like yeah, I don't think this team believes in a trap game, but it's gonna be so damn impressive if they go 4 weeks in a row beating the Cowboys, beating the Bills, beating the 49ers, and then they got to play the Cowboys again. I think Fernando, that was my point. He's predicting that the letdown will come against the Cowboys because that's in Dallas. And you've mentioned before too, Victor, it's just a better matchup. Like the Cowboys know how to match up well with the Eagles. The 49ers not as much, but then the 49ers match up better with the Cowboys. So it's a kind of weird dynamic. So, but there's so much bad blood too that I don't feel like a trap game or letdown's going to occur. Maybe it could happen in Dallas because they are rivals. They know each other very well, and maybe these teams are meant to split. And then also too, I think after the Cowboys game, they played the Seahawks. Like I know the Seahawks are not on that level, but man, that's a tough 6 game stretch. And if they find a way to go 6-0, like watch out rest of the NFL.
yeah. And then what is the bird gauntlet that the 49ers
Yeah.
are on right now, where
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're
They're playing the
facing
Ravens too, right? So that's
yeah,
gonna
they're
be a
playing
tough
the
one.
Ravens, the Falcons, the Seahawks, and the
Yeah.
Eagles, which is weird. They're
I,
facing all bird teams the
I
next
would.
five
I
games.
can't wait for that Ravens 49ers one. That'd be good too. But
Yeah, that's another one. I mean,
1 week at a
eh,
time.
yeah. Do you want me to share what Athir wanted to say, or do you want to leave it for later?
Yeah, might as well. I
Here you
like
go.
that he's
He
giving us some
says he
comments
says
here.
that the he says the NFL and the NFL owners don't like sell of the franchise. Charger fans want the Spanos to sell the team, comparing us to the Washington. Oh my God, are you serious? And then he says Washington was people getting fired, investigation going on, lawsuit. The NFL was forced to do that. And you know what? I'll say this, Gilbert, in terms of they're two different franchises. They're both going in different directions. I think both teams are probably going to end up firing their coaches. But I think he's right in terms of, like, there's a lot of baggage with Washington, honestly, that we don't talk about. They're under new ownership, so that's part of the reason why they're going to sell off. I think part of the problem, I wasn't on the live with you guys, but I listened to you guys and you guys were talking about it. And I think part of the thing is that the thing with the Chargers is they're known as their owners are known as being cheap. Now, whether that's true or not, that's up to you to decide. But that's the thing. And then not being able to take advantage of Justin Herbert rookie contract also does not help you. And so it'll be interesting. I'm really intrigued to see what happens with the Chargers, the rest of the season, because as Fernando has said, he doesn't believe that they're going to win another game the rest of the season, which is hey, that's a pretty hot take, but I can see his point. And then what happens this offseason with this team? Because you have the quarterback, but then as I asked you guys on rapid fire, what happens with this team? Like they're over the cap by I don't know how much. I want to say 50 million. And then yeah, you have your draft picks, but who's going to be making those draft picks? Is it going to be Telasco again? So there's a lot of questions, and we're still 6 weeks away from the offseason, Gilbert.
Yeah, I'll just kind of say this. I think at Deer, you have the right to be outraged about the comparisons to the Dan Snyder regime. Yeah, it's not that bad. There's other issues like Victor laid out here, and but I'll just keep it simple. The Spanos family has not produced a winning team. They haven't been a consistent winner. They've had potential, but they usually fall short. That's kind of the issue. But yeah, you're right. It's nowhere near as bad as that. But I'm ready to make a pick here, Vic, before and then we've got to move on. But I'm going with the Eagles. They're at home. It feels like free money. There's gonna be. It seems weird. So you know what? I'm not gonna get too bold and go. Well, I guess I am going money line for my pick, but if I'm playing it safe, I will take the +2.5 here for the Eagles. But it's just gonna be a tough environment for the 49ers, and but they're peaking, and it's gonna be a tough game.
Yeah, no, I like the 49ers in this game. I like the way they've been playing. Between Brock Purdy once now now that Trent Williams is back, I think and Debo, I think that they've been the key to their success. I've asked you guys, I said, "Hey, who has been the key like who does this 49ers offense or this team like who is the guy that makes this engine run?" And I think it's we're starting to see that it's Debo and Trent Williams. I think those are now that you have both of those guys back, I think they make the biggest difference in this game, and I like the 49ers because of that. And
Yeah,
then you
no,
have go ahead. No, I
Trent's
was just
big.
gonna say
Go ahead.
Atir has the 49ers 31-27.
Yeah, it's gonna be close here. So I guess he's going with the -3.5 here. Are you also taking the -3.5? I mean, minus two and a half, -2.5.
yeah, it's one of my betting locks, and I actually like the Eagles to cover, but I like the 49ers to win.
Okay.
If that makes yeah.
Yeah. And Trent Williams is outstanding as a blocker, as a like. There's not many great left tackles in the league, and he's been around for a long time. So for him to keep doing it every weekend, week in and week out, and maybe that's a knock on the Snyder regime. They just let go of Trent Williams for nothing, so that's their fault there. And then yeah, Debo, I think he's just a matchup nightmare because when you have to account for that, yeah, maybe he's not producing like he did a couple years ago, but to that threat of him running or catching the ball, and then also had to account for CMC. There's just so many ways they could beat you. And I think to your point, that's key. But yeah, I'm ready for the tier 2 games.
Yeah, we have our page two games to watch, and we'll start off with the Thursday night game. That's kind of like there wasn't a lot to pick from, Gilbert, so we're gonna talk. We wanted to talk Cowboys. We haven't been talking about them much, and then the Seahawks. So Seahawks at Cowboys on Thursday night football. How what is your storyline in this game?
Yeah, we probably won't spend too much time on here because the Cowboys have been great at home. I want to say they've won like 11 or 12 at home straight. I forget. And then the Seahawks have just been very disappointing. They're going backwards, that's where I make my point. Like the Cowboys are good. Like I don't think I need to say too much about them right now until they play the Eagles next week, which will be fun. But with the Seahawks though, it's like I keep getting burned by them because they keep getting these high points on the spread. Like they got 7 against the Ravens. I picked them to get just to cover. Maybe I might have picked the Ravens to win the game. I forget, but they got crushed. Last week I said they're at home. They'll have some pride against the 49ers, and I took the points, got crushed. All this being said, I haven't learned my lesson, Vic. I think they're due because they're desperate. Like if you lose this game, you're probably thinking, oh crap, we're gonna lose to the Eagles after that, or whoever else they play. I forget the games again, or the 49ers and then the Eagles. It's like you got to get one of these games here because, like honestly, if you lose to the 49ers twice, the Cowboys and the Eagles, I don't want to see you in the playoffs. You don't belong. Like I don't want to see you get crushed as a 7 seed against the 49ers or against the Eagles. Maybe you have a chance against the Lions, but I don't want to see you. Like you can't compete. So you better win a game in this stretch here, and maybe they'll keep it close here. I'm picking the Cowboys, but I'm gonna take the 9 points. It's a lot of points here, and they're just too talented. But you could call me out, Vic, that I'm this fool here, getting suckered by the Seahawks again. But I'm gonna do it again, and I don't know why.
I've given you every stat in terms of the Cowboys. I think now they've won 13 in a row at home, and they've pretty much been blowing out teams at home. And I get it. People keep saying, "Well, they're not really playing anybody." Well, you got to take care of the teams that are in front of you, and we'll see what happens next week in terms of the
Yeah.
Eagles. But I like the Cowboys in this and a blowout, just like Athir does. He's saying blowout 34-17. I'm taking the +9 with the Cowboys here. I have it as one of my best bets just because if you look at it, Gilbert, this season, nobody has been able to stay with the Cowboys at home. Look at by how many points they've been able to beat teams. And so I'm going with the Cowboys. In terms of storylines in this game, Gilbert, I'll say this. I think the one thing you don't want to do is look ahead. This is where it can be a trap game for the Cowboys, and then this goes to your point. This is a must win for the Seahawks. The Seahawks need to win one game because things are starting to slip away. And we had House of Horns earlier, and I told you, like, if the Seahawks lose, the Packers lose, and the Rams win, the Rams are the 7 seed after week 13. So things are starting to slip away for the Seahawks, and it doesn't get any easier the rest of the way, Gilbert. So I think there's two things here. The Seahawks need to win one of these games, and then for the Cowboys, do not get caught looking ahead, even though this show is called Looking Ahead. Don't get caught looking ahead, because you need to take care of business like you've been at home, and then that way it sets up a great matchup next week with the Cowboys and the Seahawks.
You know what? I'll say is to make myself feel better about me. I'm going with the Cowboys. I'm taking the spread on the Seahawks. Maybe the Cowboys jumped out to like a 17-point lead and they just kind of cruise at the end, and then maybe Gino gets a garbage touchdown and they lose by 8 or something. And it's kind of like, oh, that people say at the end of the game, that final score, it's deceiving. It was a blowout, but they covered. So maybe that's the way I'm gonna make myself feel better. I was trying to push the angle where they're desperate and they're gonna push the Cowboys. Uh, it won't be like an entertaining game. I just feel like maybe they'll find a way to get the 9 points, get a garbage time touchdown, call it a day. Cowboys win. Go play the Eagles. Seahawks. Good luck trying to beat the 49ers. But yeah, it's kind of interesting wrinkle. All these 4 teams are all connected. But I'm picking the Cowboys. I just for some reason feel like eventually the Seahawks are gonna come through when they're 7, 8, 9 point underdogs. But anything else, big before we move on?
Yeah, we got a Thier who says Pete Carroll is overrated, and then he has a question, and I'll tell you, a Thier, we haven't gotten to the Chargers game, so don't. I'll post that comment later on when we get to it, and then the question you have, you can ask it, man. We like your feedback, so we'll get it on. Any questions? Don't be afraid. Let us know. We like the interaction, so go ahead and stay with us. But no, I don't have those were my two storylines with those two teams. So we can move on to Broncos and Texans,
And,
Gilbert.
and, and real quick, at there, Pete Carroll has a Super Bowl. He is not overrated. You could say he's not doing well right now. He's not being a good coach the last couple of years, but I don't see too many head coaches out there with a ring. So I
In
won't call it.
college and in the NFL.
Yeah. So I great career. I don't think about being overrated. I think he gets a lot of praise because of what he's done before, but you could criticize him for the last couple of years. You can even criticize him for not getting a quarterback with some of these Broncos picks. we've been agitating the Seahawks fan base for the last couple of weeks here with the Russell Wilson trade there. But yeah, we got Broncos versus Texans. This might be my second favorite game of the week here. Two teams that are battling for a playoff spot, and they're currently not even in the playoffs. I think the Colts are number 7, maybe the Texans are number 8, and the Broncos are number 9. I forget the order, but they're all tied at 6-5, and the Colts have the tiebreaker there. So it's a big game here to stay in the mix here. I'm not saying that the loser is going to be out of it, but those tiebreakers head to head come in handy at the end of the year. So the Texans are at home with CJ Stroud. They've kind of cooled off. I think I saw that, this is how high the standard has been with CJ Stroud. The Texans have had 21 points the last 2 games, and that feels like a little bit for them because they were just rolling before that. Uh, they lost to the Jaguars on a missed field goal, but they had them right there. I'm blanking on the game before that they won. But oh yeah, it was the Cardinals. They should have maybe probably crushed the Cardinals, but
And then they
they're a
lost
young
to the
team.
Panthers.
Yeah, and
I
also the
mean,
Panthers. So they're a young team, and the Broncos are at least well experienced with a good coach and a good defense. The offense is a little, slow, but they're not turning the ball over and they're getting takeaways on the other side. So that might be the key there. Like if CJ Stroud is able to protect the ball like he's done most of the year, besides that one game where he had 3 INTs, it might have been the Cardinals game. I forget which one. It was one of
yeah,
these.
it was the Cardinals. He had 3 interceptions.
That's right.
Before that, he had 2 going
Yeah,
into that game.
so he'd be just doing what he did before that. He should be fine. Don't give the Broncos a short field for Russell Wilson to kind of just slowly make his way up there to get a couple points there. But I like the Texans here. I'm not too confident about it because the Broncos have been playing well. Let me give you the spread here. Plus 3.5 for the Broncos. You know what? I'll take the plus 3.5 for the Broncos. I think it's gonna be an entertaining game, a close game. And give me the Texans to pull it out though.
Yeah, this is another one that's in my best bets. You said it's 3.5, right?
Yeah, or from
Yeah,
what I'm looking at.
yeah. I like the Broncos to cover, but I like the Texans as well. It's in my best bets. We'll get to it later. But in terms of these teams and the storylines, I think, well, as you said, the Broncos are 5-0. And you know what's been interesting is if you go and you look at the defensive stats for the Broncos since that 70-point game that they allowed against the Dolphins, they're still ranked 32nd, which is crazy to me. I don't understand how, even, that's how big that score was, that even though they've, their defense has gotten better, they're still ranked 32nd, which is crazy. But in terms of the Broncos, I really like what they're doing. They're pretty much just saying, you know what, we're gonna we're gonna slow play this. We're gonna let other people's beat themselves, and we're gonna, take advantage of their opportunities when they make mistakes. And they're telling, Russell Wilson, hey, we need you to be a game manager. We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna rely on our defense, and you know, um, Payton has just said, I'm gonna play old school football and I'm gonna win it that way. And it's not very sexy, but as long as you win, that's really all that matters. So this is gonna be interesting because you have a young team and you have, a coach in Sean Payne who's been around. He knows how to win these types of games, and you got D'Amico Ryans and a young team. And this is where I get kind of scared for a young team like the Texans. Everybody's already picking them to make the playoffs. This is where late in the season, teams like the Broncos, this is where they go on that run. They've won 5 in a row, and they can make it 6 in a row because they take advantage of a young coach and a young quarterback.
Well said, Victor. See, at the year, I'm not the only one that's keeping it close here for the Texans. We like the Texans, but I don't see a 10-point game here for Houston because they're so young. But I know maybe it might be the rivalry there, Chargers and Broncos, is why
I
you're
was gonna
kind
say, yeah.
of. But you got to give credit to Sean Payton, like you just mentioned, Victor. Like, yeah, he was yapping early in the season. He threw a shot that he probably shouldn't have done publicly on Nathaniel Hackett, but and he also probably thought it was gonna be a quick fix after he realized, like, oh crap, I gotta figure out who I want to keep. It's gonna take longer to install my offense. It's gonna take longer for the defense to gel. And to his credit, it's been going, and maybe earlier than expected. So, I had doubts about Sean Payne after a year away from the game. The Saints weren't looking pretty good the final years he was there, And but here we are. He's still proven to be a good coach. I don't think he's overrated, if you want to say it there, Sean Payton. But yeah, it could be a close game, but I think we're both in agreement here with the Texans
Yeah, I like
and
the Texans. I just like I said, like that's my biggest worry though, is that this is where a coach like Sean Payne could take advantage of a young coach and a young quarterback. But I think we're both in agreement, as you said, that we're going with the Texans. So let's go to our future water cooler. What will we be talking about come Monday after week 13? Gilbert, go ahead and start us off. And Thier, I'm gonna get your question in this situation because his first storyline, Gilbert's first storyline, has to do with the Chargers. So we'll get it in here for you.
yeah.
Go ahead, Gilbert.
A theory. I don't know if you're gonna like this. Maybe you're still positive about the Chargers. Maybe you're not. And if you're watching from What's Up Bolts, I don't know. I feel like we're gonna take this a good or bad. It's gonna be a split. I feel like, but for my future water cooler storyline's gonna occur after week 13. I think the Patriots are going to upset the Chargers. They're going to put Staley on a hotter seat in front of Bill Belichick. I know some are saying they want Bill Belichick, some saying or don't. If you're checking out the channel, give me your thoughts. Do you want Bill Belichick or not? It seems like we're both headed to Belichick and Staley looking for a job at the end of the season. Things could definitely change here, but I am not optimistic about anything the Chargers are doing right now. And to go into New England, I know New England is bad. They're like 2-8 or 2-9. I'm forgetting. Uh, but I'm taking the plus 5.5 on the Patriots. I'm even taking money line. I'm gonna do the upset, and I'm with Fernando here. I'm not sure the Chargers are gonna win another game. Maybe you don't want the Chargers to win another game because you want a better draft pick. I think the season's done for them. I'm gonna fork the Chargers. I know I'm being super negative here right now, and I'm not even sure Bill Belichick should be the higher if it comes to that, where both of them are available. But I just can't get behind anything the Chargers are doing right now. So give me the plus 5.5 here. I even take the upset. But and the other thing too, like I feel a little weird doing this pick here because the Patriots don't even have a quarterback in mind. Like Mac Jones is probably done in New England. He didn't even practice with the team today. Could be Zappy, could be Cunningham. So but it's New England. So we'll see.
Well, we won't know. Last week, apparently, what's his name? The guy that just got cut and then got brought back. He was getting first team reps. Then he gets cut, and then it's Mac Jones. I think it's gonna be Mac Jones again. But let me get to a Thiers. He had two. He thought he had. We had talked about the Chargers already, so he's going with the Bolts winning 14-10. So he's disagreeing with you there. And then he had since you were talking about cleaning house, here's his comment. Chargers clean house in the offseason, hire Tom Brady and Ben Johnson as coach. And I'm willing to go there. Look at what John Lynch is doing in San Francisco. So let me answer his question here. And I do like Ben Johnson, but as you guys have talked about, do you want to go with another young guy as a head coach, or do you want to go and get someone with experience like a John Harbaugh, a David Shaw, like those kind of guys, or Bill Belichick?
I don't
We'll
even
see.
think I don't even think Ben Johnson's gonna be an option. Like he's gonna be such a hot commodity. Everybody's gonna want him.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. Like, which way do the Chargers go if they? I mean, I'm saying if. I have to say if because we don't know what's gonna happen
Yeah.
with Staley, and we don't know what's gonna happen with Tom Telesco because the Chargers just operate in their own way. Gilbert, that's one thing I've learned about the Chargers is they operate in their own way. They're gonna do things their own way. Like I know people are saying already that Brandon Staley's gonna probably get fired after this week. Who the heck knows? So, uh, um, oh, there we go. We got another comment. Matier, you're everywhere. Yeah, and we appreciate. Thank you both Tiller 93. We like the feedback. Please continue to give us your feedback on this look ahead show. But I I'm not. I don't hate your storyline here, Gilbert, because you know what? It's gonna be, the Patriots and the Chargers are both going in the same direction. I think they're pretty much playing for next season at this point, and it'll be interesting to see. Like, does Belichick just want to stick it to the ownership and just keep losing, or does he win here and just be like, hey, I'm gonna screw up whatever
Yeah.
plans you have to draft. And then with the Chargers, like I we talked about this last week, what has Staley lost the locker room at this point? Like, what happens? Like, if it turns into like a S show, what happens? Does he get fired? Does do the Chargers go away from protocol and just say, you know what, F it, we're done with Staley, and let's just, because we even saw the Steelers hadn't fired a office or a coordinator in season in like 50 years, and they finally did it. So who knows? Maybe the Chargers say, you know what, let's just cut our losses now. Name a interim and just play out the rest of the season.
Yeah, I guess it'd be like a possibility. Like if it goes really sideways in New England, it just looks really ugly. You just want to just move on. But I covered this team when they lost 45-0 at home to the Patriots, and
True.
I think that was actually without uh, Brady. That was 2020, so that was like the that clunky Cam Newton season. Remember, Cam Newton was a Patriot for a
Yeah.
year, and they got beat down 45-0. It wasn't even Tom Brady, and they still kept Anthony Lynn for the rest of the season. They actually won the last 4 games. So I think maybe it's already made up in their mind, but you're like, you don't want to just end the season and see how it goes, whatever. Because at this point, if you're losing the games, that helps because you get a better draft pick, and that's why when you said maybe Belichick could like stick it to the the Patriots and win a game to help out my pick here. But yeah, Athir, Botilo. Let me know if I'm a little wild out here, but I think it's gotten to a point where people are saying, yeah, maybe the Patriots could win a game here. What's your pick, Vic?
I'm going with the Chargers in this game just because I told you a few weeks ago. I just think the Patriots have decided that, you know what, we're pretty much gonna tank the rest of the season, and so yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
there you go. Well, to you 93, we need to pull a Ted Lasso and bring a football coach, maybe Mourinho. We need a motivator. Yeah,
Fernando would have loved this comment. Hopefully, he sees
yeah.
it later on here.
Yeah,
But
we'll make sure to mention it and pass it along. And then also a tier has, it says, Gilbert, do you not like my name for president, for GM, I should say. I mean, Tom Brady, I don't think he wants to be a GM. We don't even he signed a big contract to be an announcer, and I don't think he's coming back. And then you have Craig Olsen saying he's interested in the Panthers job. So until we figure out what Tom Brady wants to do at the year, like he's over here calling the NFL mediocre now. So I mean, if you're a player, do you want to be you want a GM like Tom Brady saying you're the way you play is mediocre? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what I think we need to know what Brady wants to do because he signed that big contract to be in TV, and he still hasn't done anything for Fox.
yeah, I get that maybe John Lynch did something and John Elway did something, but like, yeah, no, Tom Brady, let him do his thing, and you don't need that. And he's already the owner of the Raiders, or minority owner. Was going to be a GM and then give up his stake in the Raiders. Like it's done. But nice try at there. But I do love your comments, and they're a little out there sometime. But maybe the soccer player that Botilo is talking about has a better chance of being the GM than Tom Brady. But yeah, we got to move on. But I like what Fernando mentioned earlier this week. Dan Quinn, I think that's going to be an option. I think the guys who have big personalities, who want a lot of money, who require a lot, they probably won't go to the Chargers. When there's probably 9 to 10 openings, it's gonna be hard to get the guy you want. So it might be one of these guys where, hey, he has experience, he knows how to be disciplined, knows how to be a hard ass, and maybe just people are discrediting the guy because people call him washed, like a Dan Quinn. Like people thought Andy Reid was washed. People overlooked Doug Peterson because it kind of didn't go that well after he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. So I like the experience route here. So, but yeah, let's move on to the next water cooler storyline here that I had, and I'm already forgetting. Here we go. Okay, I saw the Twitter or the X video of Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. Nice spin, Aaron Rodgers. But I started laughing when somebody in the comments said, I think the comment or the tweet was like, Aaron Rodgers spinning the ball. And it's like, yeah, spin that crap next year, not right now. And I'm like, yes, don't spin it right now. Like just watching that video of Aaron Rodgers on the Jets Twitter, it's like, man, like okay, don't mess up the Achilles. Like, don't move too much, man. Don't do it. Kind of feels about to break. It's like, what are we doing here? So for Aaron Rodgers to put you out of harm's way, I don't know what you're doing right now. They're 4-7. You're not going to the playoffs. So Falcons, do the Jets a favor, beat them down this week, and just say, hey, you're 4-8 now. Aaron Rodgers, just throw the ball, but don't play. You could practice. It's cool. Hang around the team, but you're not gonna play this year. So I don't know what the Jets are thinking here, but that's gonna be my prediction. Falcons crush the Jets. I don't even feel good about that because I'm not a big Falcons person because they don't have a quarterback. And you know how I feel about that. But they ran the ball pretty well last week, so Falcons crush the Jets and they force them to shut down Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Like, I saw a meme the other day where it was a turkey drumstick, and it was like, oh, this is Aaron Rodgers' Achilles, and it just came apart because it was and I'm just like, yeah, like I brought this up as one of my burial of the week a couple weeks ago, and I think Rodgers is just doing this so he can stay in the limelight. Like, he shows up to every game that's nationally televised, and it's because he's getting paid by Pat McAfee to be on his show on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, whatever day he's on now, and he has to make an appearance, and so he has to stay relevant. At this point, why the heck would I've even seen from Jets fans, guys like Rich Eisen, who are saying, "I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers behind that offensive line. Why would you put yourself through that? Like, I don't understand." And honestly, I've just come to the conclusion is that he just wants to be in the limelight so people don't forget about him, and he gets paid by Pat McAfee for his appearances. So I'm with you. This storyline needs to go away already,
Yeah.
because even if he makes a miraculous, why would you want to play behind that offensive line?
Like before the season, it got a little tiring. Okay, we get Aaron Rodgers on the Jets, but now it's like you're 4-7. You're a 40-year-old quarterback. You just hurt your Achilles or you tore it 2-3 months ago. What are we doing here? Like enough. Like you got the spotlight on Hard Knocks and the entire offseason. You got the Pat McAfee show. Stop. Come back in 2024, Aaron Rodgers. So, but yeah, I'm ready for your prediction, Victor.
Yeah, here's mine. I'll keep it quick. Mine is the Jaguars blow out the Bengals on Monday Night Football. They make a statement, and Trevor Lawrence enters the MVP conversation. We've seen, Trevor Lawrence seems like he had a little bit of a hiccup there at the beginning of the season. He had a bum knee. You saw it against the Saints, and then the last couple of weeks he's starting to turn it on. I think being on national TV, the Jaguars with that defense and their offense starting to turn things around. I think they beat up on a injured Bengals team. They blow them out, and then Trevor Lawrence enters the MVP conversation.
How is this Monday Night Football? I thought we're doing flexing now. What the heck is going on here? Why like
I
Joe
don't
Burrow
know.
doesn't play for them? But I do like your prediction here. I was so impressed with Trevor Lawrence last week, and then even the week before that. Like the thing that makes them dangerous is they finally got Calvin Ridley involved. Like that's what sets them apart. Like that's what makes them a good contender. But I think it would have been Fernando or Dan, but I didn't think about it. Like with Ridley playing well, Christian Kirk has it. I'm like, oh, that could be kind of a problem. You need both of those guys to step up. So, uh,
You know what the difference has been, Gilbert? And I didn't get a chance to reply to that comment, but and it's Say Jones being back. Like, that's been the difference. Say
mm,
Jones being back.
third option.
Yes, that third guy, and then also getting Ingram involved. And then one of the other things that I've noticed, their offensive coordinator, I think, I forget his name, to be honest. I think it's Chris Taylor, something like that. Um, he's been running the offense for the beginning, and now you're starting to see some of the staples that Doug Peterson runs. I think he's taking over some of the play calling lately, and then and it's helped them. And I just, my only thing with them that worries me aside from the offense is some of the decisions, like that fourth down decision against, at the end of the second quarter. I'm just like, what are you doing? Just kick the field goal. And then and then he gets interviewed right after, and he's like, oh, it's okay, we'll get the ball back first. Yeah, but you could have had 3 points there. It's just like, I don't know, that's my only thing with them.
Yeah, sometimes Peterson makes some kind of questionable decisions, but For the most part, he's done a good job there, and it kind of does feel like okay, he set the bar high there, but now it's like, oh, they kind of feel a little bit of a disappointment. But just seeing Ridley and Lawrence playing well, like that mentioned, I'm sorry, like you mentioned with the defense, they've been doing well. They're underrated. You probably can't name more than three guys on that defense, but they do well. I think that that beatdown from the 49ers kind of still lingers in people's mind. Uh, but if I see really doing what he's doing, like you mentioned, Zay Jones being an option, opening up the passing game. And then Lawrence, last year, Lawrence was kind of slow to the season, and then he just picked it up at the end when it mattered the most. So if that's kind of the way he's going to be, that's okay. Like you're better when the games matter. So let's see if he does that for the MVP conversation.
Yeah, we got some comments here for us. This is the first time from Voltio 93, first time catching you guys live. Big fan of the Compa show. Keep it up 100.
For sure.
Um, yeah, thank you, Voltio 93. And then we have a tier. He says he has something to tell us, and then and then he's
I'll fall
got
for
some.
it. He likes to do that. He likes to kind of
Yeah,
play up the
yeah, I
hype.
know. And I'll say this, Fernando, he knows what he's talking about. Like I'm behind the scenes, but I know exactly what he goes through and how he does. Like, there's a reason why he's covering the Chargers, and the guy knows his stuff, man. Like, he's a great follow. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the producer, but that's just the. Oh, here you go. We got a trade here. Trade Monty and Geno
Hey,
Smith for Tua and Breeze.
here we go. Fantasy football question. It's been a minute, so I got okay. Monty, David Montgomery, and Geno Smith for Tua and Brees Hall. Man, anything with the Jets offense, it's terrifying. I've had Victor. I got Garrett Wilson. It's always a fear where he's gonna have a zero or he might go off, and I don't want to be the week where he doesn't do anything. And that's what I feel like with Brees Hall. I'm guessing Jake, you have Monte and Gino. You're trying to get Tua and Brees Hall. Uh, Nothing really excites me there besides having Monty. So if you're the one that has Monty, I say you keep him, but you're trying to get him, go get him. I'm kind of unsure there, but what do you think, Victor?
Yeah, I'm with you. Tua, like, he's kind of fizzled back down to earth, and then Brees Hall, like, I don't trust anything. Like, they with the Jazz, I'm with you. Like, the best piece there is Montgomery, and they're gonna keep feeding him even with the split carries. They're still gonna feed the Lions want to run the ball with that offensive line. And then Geno Smith, I mean, I just get another quarterback. If I would just stream at this point if you're the one that has Geno Smith. That's what I had to do this
Yeah,
week.
that's the tough thing about having Gino. I think if that's your option, you want Tua, and maybe Tua does well. He's playing the Commanders this week, so he might go off. So if you need him to kind of play, like if you do like the matchups and you feel like the quarterback is more important to you, then it's okay. It's not the worst trade, and then you get Brees Hall. Maybe Brees Hall does something, but I just like the running because the running back they're harder to find than the quarterback. Like you mentioned, you could stream a quarterback, and Monty is still getting carries, and he's a goal line back too. So it's not the worst. Like, if you want to go for it, it's not the worst thing in terms of matchups. But you and I are in agreement here with trying to keep Monty if that's what you have.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do. We talk fantasy football. We're in our all the compas are in the same fantasy football league. We're all in different places in our league. Gilbert is like the Rams and the Packers right now. He's trying to get back into the playoff picture, and
yeah,
then I'm number two, I think. So we're all in this. So anytime, send us your fantasy question. We're more than happy to
yeah.
answer them.
And Athir, I know you voted for Thursday, but we're getting a lot of comments today on a Wednesday night earlier in the week. Maybe Wednesdays are better for people. Botilo didn't know about us. I'm sure Botilo's been caught up with our Compas on the beat, shows earlier in the day. But yeah, we try to go live on Wednesday or Thursday to talk fantasy football, best bets, game picks. So maybe Wednesday is the night. Maybe Jake likes Wednesday. Maybe Botilo likes Wednesday, and that's two against one at Thier. Sorry, Thier. I don't know, man, but it's cool to see all these comments right now. But yes, we do talk fantasy football, and we've been talking comments that I lost track. Where are we, Victor? Are we gonna move?
We are moving on to our betting locks of the week. Let me give you where we're at last week. You did pretty good, Gilbert, last week. So just for anybody that doesn't know, just catching us now and figuring out, hey, what are you guys talking about? What are your betting locks of the week? So we give 5 blocks each week, and then we number them, and then we go five down to one. which is, we go from our best bet down to our lowest bet, and then and so we have a number system. So last week, Gilbert, uh, this is how he did. He had Bills plus 3.5 versus the Eagles. He got that one right. That was his number five. Number four was Rams -1 versus the Cardinals. He got that one right. He had the Seahawks at +7 versus the 49ers. That was his number three. He missed on that one. His number two was Bills versus the Eagles, and he took the 48.5 under. He missed on that one. And then he had his number one was Rams versus Cardinals, 44.5 under, and he missed on that. So because
Nice.
he got his five and his number four, he got 9 points.
So
Gilbert is now on the season up to 46 points. Now I kind of went the same way, but I my numbers were down at the bottom. So my number five was Dolphins Jets 40.5 under. I missed that one. My number four was the Chiefs at Raiders +8.5. I took the Raiders there. I missed on that one. And my number three was the 49ers -7. I got that one right against the Seahawks. My number two was the Bills +3.5 against the Eagles. I got that one right. And then my number one was Rams -1 at the Cardinals. I got that one right.
wow.
And I got 39 points. So I'm 7 points behind you now, Gilbert,
Yeah. So
because
you,
you
so you
you got
got
those
more
numbers.
right than me last week, but I got the
Yeah,
first two.
yeah, that's what happened.
But
What
yeah,
is
okay.
what do we have?
I'm not even sure what WNF means. Hopefully, it didn't.
And then we
Win.
have a theory. My bold press Steeler will go off on Pop after the loss. Probably.
Uh,
We'll see what happens there. All right, Gilbert, get us started with your
yeah,
best your betting locks of the week.
yeah. So I'm doing decent. So you want to take me up on these bets here? Let me know if you do. If you don't, not a problem. You disagree, let me know too. But this one, I found myself having a hard time finding games that I want to take the plus on, feeling confident. I know I took the Seahawks because I had to make a pick there. I'm not confident for my best bets of the week, but so a lot of minuses here. So I think the Chiefs found something last week against the Raiders with Isaiah Pacheco,
Oh, there you go.
Rasheed Rice here. Oh, there
Monday
you
Night
go.
Football.
Wednesday night football talks with the Compas. Okay, I like that.
I
There you go.
like that. There we go.
WNF.
We
That was like a radio station or like what is that channel the Cubs play on? It's like
Yeah,
WN.
WGN. By the way, did you know that I found this out when I was in journalism school that all the reason the radio stations start with the W, they're all east of the Mississippi, and then all the stations with K are west of the Mississippi.
Oh, I had no
Yeah,
idea. Okay,
there you
that
go. We
that
learned
makes
something
sense.
on today's show.
There you go. But I like that Boltillo 93. But yeah, my best bet of the week for 5 points in this game that Victor and I are doing. Chiefs -6 versus the Packers. I feel a little uneasy about them going to Lambeau, a good Green Bay team, not the best team, but they're turning it around. But they have a good defense there, so if they jump out to a early lead, I think they can hold it down. Yes, I was screaming about this team 2 weeks ago when they were dropping passes left and right against the Eagles. Hey, but I think Rasheed Rice has been consistent. Pacheco's been pretty solid. So if they get those two guys going, they're not the most explosive offense, but they got Mahomes, they got Kelsey, a great defense, great coaching. I think they could go up there in Lambeau and maybe like they'll keep it close and they'll pull away and win by 10 points here. So I like the -6 here. My 4 pointer for my best bets here. Steelers -5.5. I'm kind of thinking, why am I picking the Steelers -5.5? They're at home, but because they're playing the Cardinals. The Cardinals stink. They got crushed by the Rams. Uh, I think we're starting to get to the point where the Cardinals, at least defensively, are checking out. And I know the Steelers got 16 points last week, but they got 400 yards finally with the new
Can
play
I give you
caller
a
there.
stat on that, Gilbert, that
Yeah,
I thought was crazy? So they never went over 400 yards with Matt Canada as their offensive coordinator. Now check this out. The game before Canada took over, they had 400 yards. The first game after they fired Canada, they went over 400 yards. That is
yeah.
crazy.
That's when you know that's on the coordinator. So maybe Kenny Pickett has some hope in the NFL. But yeah, give me the Steelers -5.5 against the Cardinals. And then you guys don't know about this one, my 3-pointer. Patriots +5.5 against the Chargers. I already picked the Patriots to win, but they kind of give myself a little protection. Uh, give me the +5.5 on the Patriots. My 2-pointer, Jaguars -8.5. It's a giant spread, but they're at home and they're playing the Bengals with Jake Browning. And then number one, I need to get at least one total here. And for some reason, I really think it's gonna be a high scoring game. Lions versus Saints, 47.5. Take the over because the Saints can't, play defense all of a sudden. It's been like a month now. I started checking on their defense, and because they got gashed by the Falcons last week, I'm like, if you make Arthur Smith look like a good offensive coordinator or play caller, you're doing something poorly in New Orleans. And yeah, for the past 4 or 5 weeks, they've been very bad. The Lions have a great rushing attack. Like Bijan is awesome, but Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery are better. So I think the Lions will score points, and then the Saints, have trouble with Derek Carr, but the Lions defense has been bad. So two bad defenses playing in a dome. Give me the over on that one.
Yeah, I like a lot of those picks. Here, let me give you mine. I'll start off with my number five. We talked about this. I really like the Cowboys against the Seahawks tomorrow. I have them at -9, and like I told you, Gilbert, the Cowboys have been blowing out everybody. They've won 13 in a row at home, and so I think they just keep on rolling. No trap game as they get ready to play the Eagles. Talking about the Eagles, they're my number four. I like you said they're +2.5. I saw it at 3. Um,
You can take it.
and yeah, so Eagles +3. I think the 49ers win, but I think the Eagles keep it close. I think it's going to be a 1 or a 2 point game. Even if a 3, it'll be a push. I really like that. My number 3, we talked about it on House of Horns. Rams and Browns 39.5. The under. I'm going with the under here. The Browns defense is really good. I just don't know how the Browns score points with Joe Flacco as their quarterback. And the Rams have been playing really well on defense, and they've scored just enough points. I think it's going to be one of those weird games where it's like 19-15, but they keep it under 39.5. My number 2 is the Broncos. I picked 2 on the plus side, actually 3. Broncos +3.5. I think the Texans win, but I think the Texans squeak out a win. But I think the Broncos keep it close. And then, of course, my last one is the Titans +1 versus the Colts. The Colts are really good at home, but they struggle on the road. Even when they went to Germany, they got lucky against the Patriots, and so and the Titans. The one thing I can always count on is with Brable is his teams always play well at home, and for whatever reason, and the Colts don't. So I like the Titans to pull off the
Mm,
upset here. So that's my
okay.
number one.
All right. Yeah, I stayed away from that one because you mentioned the difference of the home team there. So, good pick by you. And let me answer this one real quick. Victor, yeah, we did talk about Dan Quinn earlier. Boltillo 93 as the head coach of the Chargers, as a candidate. I like it. I'm gonna give credit to Fernando. He's bringing that one up there. Dan Quinn. He took the Falcons to a Super Bowl. He wasn't the best coach. He wasn't known for great game management and having awesome offenses and awesome defense. I know he's more of a defensive side, and his defense weren't that great, but they were average, So he could make it work. And then I love how Dan Quinn evolved as a defensive coordinator. Like we all knew him from the cover three in Seattle, and it got kind of stale and predictable. And then he went to the Dallas Cowboys, and he just kind of made it a little different. He tweaked it, and that helps when you have a great personnel there. So we all know about the Chargers defense. They're talented, but they haven't lived up to the potential since Staley got around, or even before that. So maybe Quinn could be the guy there, and we'll see what he will do for an offensive coordinator. People keep saying Kellen Moore. I think he'll probably try to clean house and get his own guy.
Yeah,
But
and
that's
he's been good at pick. I mean,
Kyle
he picked
Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan, so he's been good at picking offensive coordinators. They ran out of gas against the Patriots.
Yeah, so he's probably my number one right now. Obviously, I like Ben Johnson, but he's gonna have so many options. I don't think Belichick's gonna happen. I don't think Harbaugh's gonna happen. I like Mike McDonald too. We're gonna go defense because he doesn't have a lot of talent in Baltimore. He does have Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith, but he's making it work. And with the other, it's a veteran core, especially on the defensive line. I like Mike McDonald. I like Frank Smith, former Chargers offensive line coach. So those are my top three right now. I gotta dig a little deeper for the candidates, but we haven't even got to those Staley firing. I know it's not going well for Staley. You never know. He could have. I think it was Schultz reported that barring a miracle, he's probably on the way out. Usually that means that he's gonna be on the way out, but you never know. But I appreciate the question here, and we're ready for the dump offs. Or a deer has something. I'll
The
see you
giver.
Monday when the Chargers kick they ass. Yeah, we could see. I don't know, but maybe at deer at this point you want losses. You want a better draft pick. But I get it. It's hard for Chargers fans to root for an L. But yeah, let's go for the dump offs here.
All right, let's go. Let's finish this off strong here, Gilbert. Let's start off with Cardinals at Steelers. What is the
Yeah,
line on this one?
this one I already said on my best bets, so I'll be quick. I have the Steelers minus 5.5. Give me the points and no one.
Yeah, I like the Steelers here. I think the Cardinals are just, they're trying to see what they have in Kyler Murray and then, pretty much finish off the season.
What we got next?
Next one is we talked about this Colts at Titans. I went with the
That's
with
right.
the Titans at home. Plus it's plus one, right? Or minus one. Colts.
Minus one Colts here, so plus one for your Titans. And I don't feel good after what you said about the splits here, home and road, but I went with the Colts originally, so I'm gonna stick to it. Colts minus one.
Sounds good. All right. Next one is Lions at Saints. What do you got for a betting line?
Yeah, Lions minus four here. They're in New Orleans. It could be a tough place, but like I mentioned, the Saints can't defend. They can't even score in the red zone. Last week they went to the red zone 5 times. Victor, they got 5 field goals, so they can't even score a touchdown, which doesn't bode well for my over bet. But the Lions have a bad defense, so but I like the Lions to hold it down after a terrible loss last week and to cover minus four.
Yeah, and they're on 10 days rest, I believe the Lions
Yeah.
are. And then the Saints are coming off a bad loss to the Falcons. Yeah, give me the Lions here. I think the rebound. I think it's going to I'm with you. I think this is a high scoring game. I think it's going to be something like 35-28, something like that and the Lions cover here. Falcons at Jets. What's the betting line?
Yeah, probably why mine's already obvious. I made this in my water cooler, but Falcons minus 2.5. I predict the Falcons to crush the Jets. So give me the Falcons to go into New Jersey, I guess it is, to beat down the Jets.
Last week, Gilbert, I said that every time I pick the Falcons, they lose. And so I'm gonna pick the Jets here just for that same reason because every time last week I went with the Saints against the Falcons, I'm gonna go with the Jets again because that probably means the Falcons are gonna win. So that's the
Well,
only reason I'm doing it here.
well, brace yourself for Aaron Rodgers talk if the Jets win.
Yeah, they won't. All right, next one is Dolphins at Commanders. What's the betting line?
Dolphins minus 9.5. I will take the Dolphins because I think the Commanders have packed it in. Give me the minus 9.5 for the Dolphins. They are in Washington. This team can't even pressure the quarterback, so expect maybe Tua. I mean, it was Jake, right? Maybe Tua could have a monster game for this week against the Commanders, who could not get any pressure on Dak Prescott. And I think Ron Rivera is probably on the way out. They fired Del Rio, so not looking good in Washington.
Yeah, that when one of the coordinators gets fired, that means then the coach is probably next. I like the Dolphins here big. I think I do have one concern with the Dolphins. I was really liking their defense, and then now they lose Jalen Phillips. You have Pierre Paul coming in to replace him. I don't know if that's going to equal what they were getting out of Jalen Phillips. It's tough,
Yeah,
but I like the Dolphins in a blowout here, and maybe our compa Ron Rivera gets fired right after this game.
yeah, that'd be tough to see.
Yeah, next one is oh my god, this is terrible. Another NFC South game. Panthers at Buccaneers. What's the line on this one?
Yeah, I know some people always say, "Oh, when the coach gets fired, the next game the team kind of like rallies around that." But No, like nobody. I don't think anybody want to see Frank Wright fire. He's such a good guy. It's people. It's like David Tepper just screwed everything up, so he's still there, and it's kind of a bad vibe. So give me the Buccaneers to cover -5.5.
Yeah, I like the Buccaneers here. They're playing at home. That defense is still really good. I I I don't know. We'll have to talk about this. We haven't really talked about the Buccaneers. I kind of want to just have a conversation about the Buccaneers, just because they're in that phase where they're stuck in the middle. We talked about teams you don't want to be in the middle, and I feel like the Buccaneers don't know what they want to do, and so. But we'll get to it. That's for
Yeah.
another day. But I like the
That's like
Buccaneers.
the Saints with after Drew Brees. They keep getting stuck in the middle. So make a decision eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Like they need to figure out if they want to tank the rest of the season or just start Kyle Trask, for the
Yeah.
rest of the season. At least that buys you a hey, we're not really trying to tank. We just want to see what we have in Kyle Trask. But next one and our last one, we talked about it on House of Horns. Browns at Rams.
Yeah, definitely check out House of Horns if you haven't. But we made their picks there, and I think in House of Horns we said it was probably +4.5 for the Browns. What I'm looking at right now is +3.5 for the Browns.
Is it the
Uh,
Browns or the Rams? The Rams are favorite.
yeah. So I meant plus, yeah,
Oh
plus
yeah, yeah, yeah.
3.5
Sorry,
for the
go ahead.
Browns. So I will take the points for the Browns. I felt better about 4.5 when we mentioned it earlier. But I'll still take the 3.5 for the Browns. But I'm picking the Rams to win at home and be on track and get to 500 for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the under in this game, like 39 and a half. And then I like the Browns to cover, but the Rams pull it out. Something like 19-15 or 19-16, like some weird score. But yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Cool. I think that's all the games. We had a good amount of bye weeks this week, so not as many games. And yeah, we went over 16 minutes from our usually we go an hour, but when we go over an hour, that means we got comments. So that's a
Yep.
good thing. I think it was a good success for WNF with the Compas. Shout out
Yes.
to Botillo there. But Athir, I don't know, man. I think people like Wednesday. Hopefully, check your calendars and get it right. But we're not permanent here, but with Wednesdays. But I think it's looking nice. Me and Victor got to discuss it at the end of the week. But Athir, thank you for jumping on because Athir, big credit to you because when people see comments from you, it encourages other people to give comments and give their takeaways, ask questions, things like that. So shout out to you as always, man.
Yeah, and Boltillo 93, he hopped on as well. And then we had, was it Jake S as well with the fantasy questions.
Yeah.
So we always appreciate it. If you miss us, you can always hit us on the comments on either one of the channels, whether it's Compas on the Beat, House of Horns, or What's Up Bolts. Go ahead and leave us your comments, and we'll try to reply to you there. We got one more comment here, Gilbert. He said thanks. We appreciate you, Athir. We know you're always locked in. You're on here on Wednesday night, and you're on Monday.
Doesn't
So
matter when, it will be on.
yeah, exactly. So we appreciate that.
But yep, I'm ready to go. On the week 13 big time game, you got the Eagles and the 49ers, and for locally, you got the Rams and the Browns, and you got the Chargers and the Patriots. So we'll check back in for the Lunes Live for Compas on the Beat. Check out all the content if you can. Check out the description, the link in the description. We have a PayPal link for donations. We're trying to get to Super Bowl Radio Row. Help the Compas, myself, Fernando, Dan, and Diego, Victor, the producer, help us get to Super Bowl Radio Row in Las Vegas. Link in the description for donations. It will be much appreciated, but no pressure. I know it's tough this time of year, and yeah, thank you to you, Boltillo, Athir, and Jake. Awesome, a good time. But on that note, ya nos vamos, pues, vámonos.